Okay, so basically, you know who Rattle is if you've been watching the channel for a while.
Hey guys, welcome back.
We made a video a few months ago. His channel is called Rattle Pokemon. I don't think his real name is Rattle, to be honest, but what he does is investigate alleged scams in the Pokemon card trading space and other card trading space.
We're gonna look at that sketchy origin, where it changed hands, and what happened to it along that journey. I'm gonna tell you why I don't trust the case, the contents, or the authentication.
This guy is just a watchdog, right? He's a good guy on YouTube. He's been on my channel before. He does pretty solid work. It's awesome.
They make money off fees. So the more people they can have selling on the platform,
Right.
the better. Sure, they're not making money off of Blake, but he's advertising. We gotta protect our boy.
And now he's in trouble. And he needs our help. So I'm gonna be re-educating all of you in this video and sharing with you some propaganda to see where we lie on this situation. A YouTuber investigating scams calls out an alleged scammer and then gets sued. Lawsuits are really interesting because I myself personally do not want to end up in the lawsuit. Oh, you do it again.
If you do want to go to jail.
Nope. So I will remain as unbiased as possible. Before we jump in though, just know that I am friends with Rattle. I know him. He's a good guy. Just so we're clear, from now on, I'll be unbiased. So we're talking about Rattle Pokemon. He's made about 15 videos going back a year on and around an individual named Shawn Bassic. The first thing that you see now when you Google search Shawn Bassic is Rattle's videos. And these are not good videos about Shawn Bassic. These are, I would say, kind of mean videos.
Today, we will be mostly looking into the suspicious Charizard wheel spin stream. We've mentioned it before. This was hosted by Shawn Bassic, aka SB, as he went by on Whatnot before he was banned.
This is Shawn's LinkedIn. I don't know really who uses LinkedIn anymore, but he says he assists young entrepreneurs working towards an exceptional future. So that seems pretty hunky-dory, right? What about the allegations against Shawn that caused this lawsuit to come into play here? The SLAPP lawsuit. We'll get into that.
Shawn Bassic, who has been featured on my channel, has bullied many during his endeavors in sports and Pokemon cards. Even those who have spoken out typically back down because he will threaten them with frivolous lawsuits.
The information we have on this is not from Rattle himself. This is just from us viewing outside in, digesting the massive Rattle saga of Shawn Bassic. A bunch of different videos varying in different lengths, 17 minutes and 51 seconds, all the way up to an hour and 15 minutes long. Holy, there's a lot, and we've done our absolute best to understand it as best as one can. Maybe even from Shawn's perspective, from Rattle's perspective, from the public's perspective, whatever it may be. A video from 4 months ago titled, "Is Sports Card Fraud Making Its Way into Pokemon via Shawn Bassic and Evan Mathis?" This video covers some of the things that have led him to believe that Shawn Bassic is not good for the Pokemon trading community. This is like the true pinnacle of the arrow in Shawn's heart.
I'd like you to meet Shawn. This little weasel used to stunk dog sports cards and went by the name Invest in Baseball.
An example that Rattle provides in his video is that Evan Mathis is a person who allegedly trims cards. He has been.
Yes, we're talking about Evan, the ex-NFL player who was accused of trimming, altering, and cutting up sheets of sports cards.
Him and Shawn have a relationship together.
If we take a look here at associates, of course, we got Shawn Bassic, Invest in Baseball. No surprises there. And then we also have has formerly sold cards via Invest in Baseball. So they've done some business dealings in the past, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that they're doing stuff currently, right?
And then he scrolls down to the various instances of alleged trimming done by Evan.
That happened to be cards that were purchased by Evan and then regraded and sold as the counterparts here. Now, yes, we're gonna shame PSA a little bit on this one because they should be catching this stuff.
Trimming is when you cut a card down, you square up the edges and chop it to increase the condition beyond what it actually is. And if you don't know about card grading, that's pretty important. And I'm not one to really truly explain the gravity of the importance of card grading in this type of situation.
Are the corners dinged or pristine? Is the photo centered or off-center? Are there creases or divots or other imperfections? Based on those factors, they assign a grade between 1 and 10, with 10 being a perfect or mint grade.
Bad card, worthless. Good card, millions of dollars. Card grading is pretty fucking important. My understanding of Rattle's call here is that someone who associates with scammers and invests in the businesses of scammers is also probably a scammer. That's what I'm pulling out from what Rattle is saying in this video. That seems like what he believes. Let me know what you think. Big chungus. Rattle offers another example, talking about how a page called Invest in Baseball, sports card selling page owned by Shawn Bassic, announced that it was partnering with Evan Mathis for a sports collection meet and greet thing at the 2018 National Sports Convention, Collectors Convention. It's supposed to be giant big news because this big Evan Mathis is a Super Bowl 50 champion, which is awesome, but for the Eagles, so I hate the Eagles. The Eagles suck. Cowboys rule. Cowboys rule. Just kidding, I don't mind the Eagles. I'm just around, guys. I like making people mad. Bruh. Rattle also had tried to reach out to Shawn at one point to ask about his relationship with Blake Martinez.
Blake, that was recently kicked off Whatnot for scamming customers, mostly with rigged gambling, as you've seen on the channel. Allegedly rigged gambling.
Known card scammer? I mean, this is pretty obvious here. He got banned from Whatnot. It's pretty much not that good. Now he's back in the NFL because he, you know, stands to make more money. So yeah, obviously Rattle would want to know about his relationship with Blake Martinez, who is not a good guy in the world. So I'm starting to see why it would make sense potentially, right? But guilty by association isn't guilty. I mean, genuinely, there's no burden of proof there. It could be seen as compelling by some, but to me specifically, I need to know more. I have to learn more. Painting someone guilty by association is a dangerous precedent to set, in all honesty. Maybe, I don't really fucking know. I have no idea what I'm talking about, genuinely. This is a comedy channel. Why am I making a video about scams? Why do I keep doing this to myself? The next implication is that Shawn is dishonest, on top of being guilty by association. So Rattle brings up on the website for Collectibles Investment Group that Shawn Bassic is listed as an appraiser, and in his bio he talks about how he has achieved great success in Dota 2, but there is no information in regard to his career in Dota.
But a Google search brings up nothing. It was important enough to include in your bio here, but you had such a negligible impact on the game that there's nothing about it online.
In his downtime, Shawn enjoys hiking, scuba diving, he's a certified open water diver, traveling, meditation, and video games. In the past, he played video games competitively, achieving great success in Dota 2. So we know that Rattle is implying that Shawn is being dishonest about playing Dota 2 competitively, and that is to establish that he has poor character. So yeah, I looked it up, can't find anything aside from Shawn's own website where you can see a timeline of his professional life, and there's like a little part about Dota 2. Life is good. I live in sunny Scottsdale with my dog Pazuzu. That's a nice name for a dog. In my downtime, I enjoy hiking, Scooby, in traveling and meditating. I also have a background playing competitive and achieving great success in Dota 2. It's the same. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Maybe that doesn't mean he played in a pro league or like an actual esports team or something like that. Maybe he just is really good. It's like, I'm pretty competitive in Dota 2. He's just playing in private matches. So up until this point, the evidence that Shawn is refuting has been a little bit shaky, or, you know, not exactly shaky, but not necessarily 100% cut and dry to understand. Now, what I am able to understand is really black and white stuff. And there was a live stream between Shawn Bassic and Chumlee from Pawn Stars. That's right, Chumlee from Pawn Stars.
I had to match my underwear and my shoes to your rosy red cheeks today.
They were spinning a wheel to give away a $20,000 Charizard card, which Rattle alleged was rigged.
This is coming directly from a Whatnot employee, one that was an employee at the time of this actually happening, the events happening here. Yes, I also confirmed these details with several people who were around for it.
As the story goes, they spun the wheel and the screen glitched out. When the stream came back, it was on a name. So they could, you know, they cut it allegedly. I'm not sure. For the life of us, we tried to find the footage of this, but we cannot. We typed in the direct link and all it is a thumbnail for a stream. There's no VOD or anything like that. And we can see that it was an auction that never sold out. And this is on Whatnot, by the way, the classic Blake Martinez platform.
Well, Whatnot directly told Shawn this was not okay. He needs to run that wheel again.
And it's a pretty reasonable request. You know, it cut out. It cut out. It's unfair, right? That just doesn't really make any sense. Why would you have a thing that's a giveaway by chance and then it lands on a guy's name, but it devalues the whole fucking thing, and every single other person who didn't win is going to be upset? Perfectly reasonable. he refused and was banned from Whatnot. Part of Shawn's refusal was to go on a bit of a rant talking about why he's never had a normal job in his life and never really worked for anyone. It's because of stuff like this. I don't really know what that means. I guess he just doesn't like to be told what to do. I don't know. He's the man. He's the Dota 2 champion of the world.
Shawn starts this rant about how he spun it, and it goes to that person. He starts saying things like, I've never worked a job for anyone my whole life because of this stuff. And he chose not to listen to Whatnot. Didn't run the wheel again, and we never saw him again.
So who won the card? The little wheel actually landed on a guy's name. Who won? Some random guy. But when Rattle talked to him, it apparently took several months for the guy to get the card.
You were the one that ended up winning that, right?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of issues with it.
Okay.
That was resolved.
But Rattle seems to believe that this whole thing was rigged because of the screen glitch and the fact that the winner traded the card immediately and doesn't remember any details of the trade, which is, you know, why would you trade a $20,000 card? That's insane. And here's Rattle about a week ago talking about the trade with language strongly implying that the winner was in on the alleged scam, of course.
That combined with the story from the supposed winner lead me to believe the same winner both claims he got the Charizard and they re-rolled for it. How does that work? If someone could please explain, that would be great. Not only that, the winner also claims that he traded it right away at that same event where he received it from Shawn.
Additionally, when Rattle was talking to the winner of the giveaway, he asked him about the reroll.
Did they actually re-roll? Or they just kind of shut the stream down?
I think he re-rolled. I don't remember, actually.
Okay.
Guys, I don't like this. I'm getting really uncomfortable and sweaty. Well, Rattle has multiple examples of times Invest in Baseball, the page owned by Shawn Bassic, has sold trimmed cards as well. Trimmed cards.
So even if we want to totally ignore the fact that he was working with Evan Mathis, that he doesn't want to denounce the actions of Evan Mathis when he showed himself altering cards, all we got to do is go ahead and look at the countless examples of him selling altered cards, trimmed.
Rattle also believes that at one point CGC changed their grading rules and they let Shawn Bassic know in advance.
It seems a lot like Shawn Bassic had inside information from CGC. Remember those CGC label and grading changes? Remember the change where 9.5s would become 10s? Turns out people knew about that in advance and exploited the information. Does it sound like insider trading to anyone else?
And he bought a bunch of 9.5 graded cards, which would then be changed to a 10 after the new rules. Like, he's accusing insider trading essentially, but with Pokemon cards and sports cards. Maybe just sports cards. I don't know specifically. Here's Rattle talking about this again, saying that he worked with insider information and he did all this stuff months in advance.
We've covered that Shawn was buying mass CGC 9.5s more than a month in advance of the grading changes. Those grading changes made it so 9.5s would be upgraded to 10s, something that could be easily exploited by someone with inside information. Who would do that? What a terrible thing.
And then he scrolls through a bunch of listings that Shawn had from the 9.5s being flipped to 10s because of the CGC grading rules change. And that's the alleged insider trading.
Let's first check out the abundance of 10s he sold recently. 9.5s that he turned into 10s. Weird. Almost all of the recent solds in his eBay listings here, almost as if he bought out 9.5s from all the people I talked to in order to flip the 10s immediately. Because who wouldn't want to do that? That sounds like free tendies, but it also sounds pretty fucking scummy.
In Rattle's video from 4 months ago, before he was hit with the SLAPP lawsuit, he says that no one was coming forward to talk about the claims made against Shawn, so he would. And we can tell by the SLAPP lawsuit, after he investigated these claims, that that's probably why no one is coming forward, because he's litigious, he wants to protect his brand, and he thinks that the things that Rattle is saying are not true.
My God, this wiener baby, does he ever like to threaten lawsuits? To the point that almost everyone I've talked to wants absolutely nothing to do with him. No worries though, he can use other people with cleaner reputations to make those deals for him. So, if no one wants to make claims because of the hassle and how much of a dickhead he is, that's where I come in. I'm gonna do the legwork here. We're gonna look at all the evidence. Everyone's gonna form their own opinion.
Such an easy, good idea. Guys, if you ever see me trading Pokemon cards, I'm 100% scamming you. Okay, like just this is so simple. The groundwork is laid. And what's gonna happen? A little Pokemon YouTuber is gonna make a video about it, dude. Who cares, man? I wouldn't even sue him if he fucking found out I was scamming y'all. On to the lawsuit. Let's see exactly what the lawsuit's trying to accomplish. Quite honestly, guys, I'm getting curious. I'm excited to learn just as much as you are. Why would someone sue someone for making videos on the internet? I don't know. Firstly, what the fuck's a SLAPP lawsuit? Sounds cool, but according to the Cornell Law School's Legal Information Institute, a SLAPP, or strategic lawsuit against public participation, it is primarily used to dissuade critics from producing negative publicity, making negative content about someone specifically. The goal is to make the critics spend all their time fighting and use all their resources trying to defend against the SLAPP lawsuit. Well, that's not good. How is that even allowed? What the fuck? Shawn is coming after Rattle, claiming damages of over $2 million. Holy shit. And this is all because Rattle falsely accused Bassic of criminal, amoral acts. It is defamation, according to the lawsuit. I think it has to be untrue, though, for this to actually win, or I don't really know how lawsuits work.
Defamation is a false statement published to a third party by the actor of and concerning the plaintiff, tending to cause damage to the plaintiff's reputation.
Bassic also goes on to say that his father received multiple threatening messages left by unknown persons, which I don't really know how that has anything at all to do with Rattle. He doesn't want his audience to threaten anybody, I don't think. I didn't see that in any of the videos I watched. Bassic then states in the lawsuit that he attempted to reason with Rattle, which is very good. We'll have to see, you know, what exactly the definition of that is, because I really think being reasonable generally solves most problems, especially if both parties are willing to just be reasonable together and they don't want to sue each other for damages of $2 million. That's more unreasonable, generally speaking. And after Shawn continued to see Rattle doubling down on his videos, he said he was harassing him. If you really want to open that can of worms, I feel like the harassment of a SLAPP lawsuit, which is pretty much the definition of strategic harassment.
Simply speaking, SLAPP suits are a form of legal bullying. SLAPP suits infringe primarily on the rights of freedom of expression and the freedom of assembly and association. They shrink space for healthy discussion, dissent, and debate amongst civil society.
I think that's worse. I mean, it is definitely more harassing. So it's like this is his comeuppance, I believe. That's what Shawn is saying. Next, the court document states that Rattle is a criminal organization, stating that he has tens of thousands of followers across multiple social media platforms. Criminal organization? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? That's wild. Oh my God. So if we're talking about alleged criminal empires here, one is a lot more lucrative. I mean, he's suing Rattle for causing losses of $2.4 million, whatever, and Rattle can barely even get a fucking attorney to represent him in the sake of fairness. Another kind of funny mention in the lawsuit is this little golden nugget. Bassic taught himself and learned tangible and intangible markets at 10, starting on a website called Neopets. That's pretty funny, honestly. I don't know why he needed to mention the Neopets. I think maybe he just wanted to flex. I'm not sure. It continues by saying Bassic from that point continued to sell tangible and intangible things on different markets on multiple platforms to just, they're trying to make him seem professional, I think. Like he's got a lot of history in here. Little known to Shawn and his legal team, apparently the activities that Shawn was continuing in selling tangible and intangible markets, he used to sell World of Warcraft accounts. He created a business for purchasing and selling them, and that involved in-game currency and in-game characters, including those he created himself and those bought and sold on the secondary market. Now, this is against the terms of service for Blizzard specifically, and I know that this is crazy, but that it's also copyright infringement and fraud. You can't just buy stuff and sell it when it has to be sold on a specific marketplace. Like Blizzard they have a legal team, and they don't like this type of stuff. They don't like people to resell their shit and then not make money from it, quite frankly. So I think that's allegedly a crime in and of itself. I'm not sure it's fraud and copyright infringement. And if you sell over state lines and if you don't, I mean, yeah, how are you supposed to pay taxes on that's a fucking another can of worm. I love worm. Bassic then brags again in his court document, saying he had his first business at age 18, cards, coins, and collectibles. He specialized in the purchase of things like sports cards. So it's no surprise he moved towards Pokemon card. In Q2 of 2020, Shawn Bassic saw Pokemon cards as a promising new market in which he decided to dip his toes into. After Shawn did his toe dipping in the Pokemon world, Rattle investigated and Shawn was not pleased. Shawn talks about how he was being illegally recorded without consent and it was not an accident, it was an intentional recording. He then calls Rattle a mentally ill individual, which is pretty wild. He's a guy who's investigating a possible scam. He believes he's doing the right thing and, you know, he's helping out people who are getting taken advantage of. People get commonly taken advantage of in collectible markets, by the way. Mentally ill, I don't really know about that. He's on a vindictive rampage. I don't know what the fuck that means. These don't seem like rampage videos. This is that they're still on the platform of YouTube. YouTube has very strict guidelines and doesn't allow people to be harassed. I'm sure Shawn has reported Rattle's videos to YouTube. You know, if they are harassment, just have your lawyer send a fucking legal letter and YouTube will take them down. That's what they do.
Content or behavior intended to harass, threaten, or bully others is not allowed on YouTube. Neither is maliciously recording someone without their consent or revealing someone's private personal information.
YouTube actually specializes in determining whether or not things are copyright or harassment. YouTube's pretty good at it. According to the documents, yet again, Rattle went after Bassic in regard to the non-factory cuts, which aren't rated because they're tampered with. So he's claiming it's a fraud scheme, etc., etc. But in the documents, I don't really know if it's appropriate to defend yourself in a situation like that with that sort of writing, but instead of defending himself, he calls everything Rattle does just false and says that he recklessly ignored facts for financial gain. It all comes down to this, very quickly, briefly summarized. Rattle investigated Bassic for fraudulent gradings of Pokemon cards, therefore scamming people and viewers that are buying them, allegedly. And over the process of Rattle calling him out, Bassic has sought legal action using a SLAPP lawsuit to scare him off and damper the negative attention or the illegitimate claims. By doing so, Rattle is at risk of having to pay as little as $100,000 due to the suit, which is crazy. This is absolutely insane and completely fucking wild. If you want to check out Rattle's videos, please do. He has a bunch of cool videos about Logan Paul as well.
It's almost like Schrodinger's Pokemon here, where are there actually cards in there? We don't know.
Check him out and support him if it's something you want to do. I paid him half of my fucking ad that I put in the video we did together. My name is Caleb Goodman, and I thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video. I was supposed to initially, but he refused and refused and refused, and now it's a perfect opportunity. I give him what he is owed. And yeah, guys, check out his GoFundMe. Of course, if you think he's correct, if you think he's in the right, you know, we vote with money out here. So now the SLAPP lawsuit is a couple weeks old at this point, and Rattle, by the way, is not letting the lawsuit deter him in any way or intimidate him from making more videos about Shawn. He's released 2. Since then, it's in the Shawn Bassic playlist. Some of these clips we did use in this video, so it's kind of like pre-post SLAPP, just to show clear doubling down on allegations against Shawn. It's important to note too that all the videos in the Shawn Bassic playlist, Rattle includes a legal disclaimer in which he lets the viewer know that all of his statements are just opinions. They're not a statement of fact, yada, yada, yada. Just legal jargon basically to protect you in the event of a lawsuit, which is exactly what's happened.
Might as well get the disclaimer out of the way. This is my opinion based on everything that I've seen, as always. Regardless of him filing a lawsuit against me, Shawn is very welcome to explain his side of the story in this and any other video that mentions him.
Only the first 2 videos in his playlist do not include the legal disclaimer, and they are relevant to the Shawn situation, even though they didn't directly name him. Those are the ones that are put in the documents, the court documents, because he was added in later. Wait, I thought that if you put a disclaimer in the beginning of videos, you were impervious to legal consequences. What? You mean I can't say whatever I want? Holy shit. But yeah, we got an argument of fact. Who do you guys think is in the right, Shawn or Rattle? By the way, I'm good friends with Rattle, and it's hard to make these types of videos in a non-biased way because anything that's going to be settled in court, it has to be approached as reasonably as possible. Rattle's not a perfect person. Shawn is not a perfect person. Hopefully we can see what happens here and, you know, the actual facts of the situation, regardless of what they are. I'm interested to see. I am obviously pulling for my friend. I think he's a good man, and I think he generally does what's right. On one hand, I fully support Rattle's right to investigate this man because this whole thing is sketchy. Not specifically this situation, but any collectible stuff, crypto stuff, it's all fucking sketchy, and it's important for people to act as watchdogs to protect people from getting scammed, if that is a thing that has to happen. Personally, I wish I could see this stream in which Shawn didn't re-roll. That whole situation, I think clarity on that would be greatly appreciated. I want to see that. That situation sounds bad. There is a ton more evidence against Blake Martinez and the other people doing scamming online, a lot more than what we can see clearly with Shawn. So truly he is guilty by association here. That's the implication that you know, Rattle is not being dishonest in the lawsuit. I mean, in his videos in regard to the lawsuit, sorry. If you're trying to prove that Shawn is not a good guy, then that would be easier. He's yapping to people about him being responsible for the reason that Rattle will go bankrupt, and he's also filed a SLAPP lawsuit, which is just not, it's an infamous tactic to just silence critics, literally, and drain their finances and ruin their lives. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I think if I'm here to offer advice, which is what I'm really good at, I would say, hey, Shawn, man, I just transparency. Approach it with transparency. The internet's never going to forget stuff like this. Instead of a defamation lawsuit, just prove him wrong. Just prove him wrong. Spend 20 minutes making a video. Be active in the community. You will gain a lot of respect. A SLAPP lawsuit will make like a lot of people just not like you at all and not care about the truth in the situation, because truth, subjective. Facts, not so much. Let's focus on facts here.
And facts don't care about your feelings.
This part, by the way, I saved for the very end of the video. It's my favorite part of the whole lawsuit. He also called Shawn a snaky dakey, wiener baby, shade master, and who will slide in and absolutely fuck you, the customer. They are going to fuck your ass. They're going to take your ass, spread it open, and they're going to fuck it until all the change falls out of your pocket and your pants are around your ankles, while he calls him a pokey Jew, wiener, dickhead, idiot, and claims no one honest would ever work with Bassic. He didn't call him a pokey Jew, by the way. There is a guy named Pokey Jew, part of the Liquid Marketplace. That's a complete that's not true in the court documents. He did not call. I saw that. He absolutely was referring to the guy Pokey Jew. Maybe he did call you a wiener, a dickhead, and an idiot, but that's kind of funny. So, anyways,